Oh, dude, 9th edition, I can't wait to play this.
I walk again, a god among mere mortals.
I hear that Necron's got some updates as well and that the Nightbringer is really awesome. What do you say, Avatar of Cain? You want to verse him? Hello Internet, my name is Jack. If you haven't seen these videos before, welcome to Buying Your Wargaming. You can check up our battle reports over there in the top right hand corner. Today I'm going to be doing a small discussion on Eldar in 9th edition. I don't normally do videos like this because they are open to a lot of bias and get a lot of hate. But I figured it's kind of like a podcast, a quick little snippet of what I think about Eldar in 9th edition. And I want to get some feedback from you guys in the comments. So let me know what you think about all these random ideas and thoughts down in the comments below, and we can start a discussion. And if you really want to join in on some extra discussions, then you can join the Discord down below for Buying Your Wargaming for free and chat to us over there as well. Before we get into the nitty gritty of all the rules for Eldar and stuff like that, I'll give you a brief history on who I am. My name is Jack. I've been playing Eldar for 12 years, almost exclusively as my main army. I have all their books. I've played them in many tournaments, including winning some of those tournaments. I have 22,000 points of Eldari, including my own Revenant Titan, Cobra, and Vampire Raider as well. So I think I have a good idea about what they do. And if you would like some exciting lore to read for you Eldar fans out there, I highly suggest that you go and read these two books, Azurman and Jane Zar. It's their origin stories, and they are really, really good. And please help me bug Gav Thorpe to make the other 4 books, because that would just be incredible. So, Eldar, 9th edition. Of course, we are destined to get an update at some point in the next 3 years based on the edition. Hopefully kind of like the Necrons. But that being said, I think that I would be happy if all the models stayed the same. I don't really think that we need any new models aside from the Phoenix Lords. The 5 Phoenix Lords that have not got new models desperately need new models, probably more so than any other models in the entirety of 40k, because they are absolutely ancient. And Jane Zar's new model is pretty cool. And also I would say the Avatar of Cain needs some changes, but we'll get to that in a second. Let's get on to some actual rules and what I think they should change for when the codex drops. So I want to discuss traits last, because in my opinion, I reckon that they are the most important change that needs to happen. First off, I don't think that I'm not going to talk about relics, and I'm not going to talk about warlord traits, because all of them are essentially garbage. They are all completely useless, and basically you can find them in any other book that probably is better. Like, they have the same thing, if not better, and they just don't do anything anymore. They are essentially useless. All the relics are just too old, and all the warlord traits are just outdated. So they need an entire rework, and I'm not even going to bother discussing them. As for the stratagems, I'm okay with them. I reckon some of them might need a few changes, like the one that heals a Wraith Construct for D3 wounds. I'd make that one command point. Stuff like the Starhawk missile seems a bit like not necessary. I don't know why that was in there in the first place, but there are a lot of different stratagems that need work in a lot of different books. So all around, I'm happy with the stratagems, and I don't really think that we need any more. Psychic powers, I'm okay with all of these as well. I think that the costings should go down a little bit. So things like Enhance and Drain and Quicken Restrain, they should all go down to 6 or maybe even 5 in some cases. And the only 2 powers that I would actually change, like the wording of, one of which would be Impair Senses. I think that you should be able to pick a unit, and that unit can only shoot the closest enemy unit. So one of your units, only the closest, not within 18, should just be only the closest, and that would be fine. And the only other change I would do is I would completely get rid of Will of Azuyan, because that shit is stupid, right? I cannot fathom why they got rid of Eldritch Storm. For those people who've been playing Eldar for a long time, Eldritch Storm has been in every other book, it's been in every Dawn of War game, and it is an iconic, like, Eldar power. Scrap Will of Azuyan, bring back Eldritch Storm, and make it powerful. Like, I'm talking like cast on a 9, center a 12-inch bubble over the Farseer, all enemy units take 2 flat mortal wounds. Something ridiculous, like, boom, I'm here, dispel this or I kill all your models. Like, Bring it back, baby. The only other thing that we really need to discuss is traits and also the rules for each individual data slate, like the individual units. And before we get onto the data slates, we'll do the attributes. So in my opinion, the 5 attributes, the 5 original attributes are completely underused now. And in my opinion as well, they are too weak. They are outdated and they need a lot of buffs to make the whole army work together as a whole. And my idea for this is not only should you take some of the traits from the custom traits and just apply them on top of the buffs that they already get, but some units should have their unit type changed. So what I mean is that a Yandon, for example, give them Wrath of the Dead, reroll 1s for Wraith Construct, for wound rolls. Give them that on top. Uthway, they should have Children of Prophecy, reroll 1s for Psychic Tests, on top. Aleatok, give them Masters of Concealment, on top of what they have. Samhan, give them Children of the Open Sky, so they can advance on top. All of those should just be on top. Bealtan, I reckon, in my opinion, should become Expert Crafters and Children of Cain, because they have a lot of aspect squads, and Expert Crafters is honestly the best one, and it would really bring back Bealtan, because in my opinion, Bealtan actually might be the worst trait in 40k in all the codexes. It is that horrifically bad that it may just be the worst one. If not, it's probably Samhan, because they are just horrifically bad. Aside from adding those buffs on top of the original traits that they have, what they should do, is, in my opinion, is make things like Warlock Conclaves. Warlock Conclaves should be an elite's choice. They should change the points of them down to like 20 or something like that, so that they are really cheap compared to the actual Warlock, and then make them elites, and then in Uthway armies, they're troops. So you have units of Warlock Conclaves as your troops. That would be so goddamn good. That would be amazingly good. And then for a Yandon, Wraithblades and Wraithguard, troops in a Yandon. For Samhan, Wind Riders as troops. For a Aleatok, the Rangers should become elites, and then for a Aleatok, they go back to being troops. So this way, all of the major factions have troops, except for Bealtan, who should have all aspect squads also count as objective secured, and Dire Avengers should count as 2 models. I think that would be awesome. That means that you could play things like a battalion of a Yandon and have 3 units of Wraithblades. You could have a battalion of Samhan and have 3 units of Wind Riders. You could still have your battalions of Aleatok, even though Rangers are no longer troops. You could have battalions of Uthway that have literal like 3 units of 10 Warlock Conclaves inside Wave Serpents. Would that not be the sickest idea ever? In terms of data slates as well, as for what to change for the actual units, like the codex units, I would be perfectly fine if everything stayed exactly the same way as it is now. If everything stayed perfectly the way it was and they just changed the traits and gave us new relics and new warlord traits, I'd be fine with that. I think that a lot of Forge World units need some work because they're Forge World, and things like maybe Fire Dragons could use some support instead of running and then dying, or Hawks might need a better gun, something like that, but otherwise, I think that they're perfectly fine. The only things I would change would be 8 data slates, the 6 Phoenix Lords, Autarchs as a whole, and the Avatar of Cain. Autarchs in general should have 1 data slate, not 3. They should have 1, and they should revert to the way that they were so that they can take either a bike, Hawk Wings, a Warp Jump Generator, a Mask, a Mandy Blaster. They should be able to take any weapon they want. Reaper Launcher, pistols, the catapults, fusion guns, whatever. They should literally be anything that they want, because that's exactly what they used to be. That's what they've always been. They are literally like, I choose what I want, I pick the best parts, this is my Autarch. That's how it should stay. As for the Avatar of Cain, I think that Games Workshop as a whole should just remove the model. Get rid of the model, because any Eldar player that plays with the Avatar, you don't use the original model. you use the Forge World one. The Forge World one is way more representative of the avatar of Cain, and it looks exactly like him from Dawn of War. It's just a way better model, and no one wants to play with the Games Workshop one, so they should honestly scrap it and base the rules off of the bigger one. And that means that he should be like 9 wounds, only take 3 damage a phase, just like the Nightbringer. He should have like 9 attacks or something crazy. He should be minimum 3 damage in combat with the 2d6, picking the highest, or plus 2 damage, strength 12, moving 9, advancing and charging. He should be a weapon. He shouldn't just be some stupid little thing that just sits in the middle of your army for 250 points and then randomly make combat and only give the Fearless buff to Eldar, by the way, which is essentially useless unless you're running 20 Guardians, which you just auto pass in the one turn that they fail the morale anyway. In 9th edition, it wouldn't even make a difference anyway. So he essentially does nothing. And then he's just going to make combat with his 5 attacks, roll 1/1 to hit, and 1/1 to wound. So 3 wounds. Most people will save that on invons as well. So honestly, for 200 and whatever points he is now, it's a joke. A joke. He should be like 260 or 270 points, whatever he is, and be strong like the Nightbringer. The Nightbringer is now insane, and he should be exactly the same. As for the Phoenix Lords, in my opinion, they're too cheap. I actually think that they should change them up to 150 points minimum. Some of the better ones should be like a Zooman, should be like 200 points, and they should kick ass. They should literally show up on the field and kick the crap out of anyone. Like, I'm talking Gazgal levels of inspiration. They are literally 10,000-year-old living legends. There should be like 1 per army or something like that, and they should all have 4-up invon saves, 7 wounds so that they can't get one-shot by a 6 damage weapon. They should give reroll all hits to themselves and to their aspect squads, and then on top of that, they should get some ridiculous buffs. Like, I'm talking Jane Zar, make her disarm any infantry character on a 2+. Get rid of the horde killing rule, give her like 8 attacks that are all like still rerolling all wounds, -3, 3 flat damage. Make her silent death, 2 damage. Make her move and then advance and then charge, disarm someone, and slice them up. They should be brutal. I'm talking Azurman, 200 points, firing thunderhammers out of his Avenger catapults. I'm talking the Sword of Azure in combat should be, he wounds at strength 5, and if he wounds you, you just take flat 2 mortal wounds, and he should have like 7 attacks. I'm talking brutal levels of like next level buffs, because they are just ludicrously, horrifically bad right now. Compare something like Jane Zar to like Ragnar Blackmane, for example. Ragnar gets like 10 attacks, strength like 6 or 7 or whatever it is, -2, 2 damage. 6s are an additional hit. He's -1 AP from the doctrines. He picks a unit to reroll all hits. He gives reroll hit rolls a 1. He gets Touch of the Wild, fight again, fight when he dies. What the hell? He's the same price as Jane Zar, Jane Zar gets 4 attacks with no rerolls to hit, and on top of that is D3 damage. Is this a joke? What the hell? So other than the poor Phoenix Lords getting their data slates changed, the Autarch being reverted to normal, and the Avatar of Cain, I think that everything else should stay as it was, change some things around, and the unit kind of like, the order of the units like War Conclave should be elites and then become troops, not HQs, and make them a bit cheaper, and rangers should be elites, and then all those changes to the traits. I think that with that change and with some new relics and some new warlord traits, we could be looking at a really, really good book. But as for now, I'm so sick of playing Expert Craft. For all you Eldar players out there, it's like you either play Expert Craft, and sometimes you just rickroll your friends into the ground and it's just not fun, or you just play garbage. You may as well just play garbage and then just lose every game and just try your best to have fun with that, because Expert Craft is boring and it just slows down the game. Reroll here, reroll there, reroll here. It's slow. and boring. I see why they're getting rid of the rerolls for Space Marines, because it's not fun anymore. And I frankly, I don't really want to play expert crafters anymore. I want to play something fun and interesting. But the lack of relics, the lack of warlord traits, and the lack of new interesting stratagems, just there's nothing to go off. There's no more synergies to be had. So if you agree with me, let me know in the comments below. If you disagree with me, then also let me know in the comments below. I'm guessing that I'm going to get a lot of flack on this video, a lot of dislikes. But you know what? For those people who play Space Marines, you guys can dislike the video if you want. It's all fine with me. It's all a bit of banter. Those are my thoughts as to what they should do to the Eldar Codex, and hopefully they make some of those changes in the 9th edition Codex. I'm keen for some new rules. I'm keen to see what they come up with. Hopefully it's not too long as well, because we are kind of in a dumpster truck as of right now. I feel for you, my poor Eldar players. Maybe just swap over to playing Harlequins for the time being. And otherwise, join the Discord down below. Support us on Patreon for as little as $3 a month if you're feeling extra generous. And otherwise, I'll see you all in the next one. Peace.